Hello and welcome to another video. It is Workout Wednesday, so today I'm going to run you through a workout that I did yesterday. This is a strength training workout. This isn't a follow along or anything. I just want to introduce you to what strength training looks like, and for me, well, two things. For me, strength, when you have arthritis, strength is the absolute most important thing that you need to take care of. You need to build and maintain strength to help support your joints. Second off, I wanted to run through this workout because it's not a follow along or anything. I just want to show you what strength training looks like, because if you've never seen real focused strength training, you may have some different ideas about what it looks like, and you might be surprised by how easy it looks. The program I'm doing is called Easy Strength, so I'm going to jump over to Indoor Kev, who's going to do a run through of that workout after my walk. Enjoy. Okay, so we're going to get started with a warm-up first. So this is my standard warm-up I do before basically every workout I do, and it's pretty simple. Really, I'm just trying to get the blood flowing, move my joints around a little bit, stretch out a little bit. I have sped up some of these movements, so we're not here forever, but basically it's walking back and forth, stretching out some muscles, getting the blood flowing, as I said, and also these one-legged things, they're working a little bit on balance. So if you're struggling with balance, I think this is a good little routine to do. And I should say that I don't just use this for workout warm-ups. If I'm feeling stiff, if I'm sitting at my desk for a few hours and I just want to move, I will get up and I will do this little routine just to loosen up, just to shake out a little bit. And I find that I generally feel a bit looser. My body feels like it moves a little bit better after doing these movements. So this one here is a kind of a hamstring stretch. So we're getting a reverse lunge combined with a little bit of a stretch, which is great, again, for just getting some of those bigger muscles in our legs moving. Here we had a visitor to the gym, so one of the coaches came by and he had a big giant dog with him. So I didn't want to cut this out because who doesn't love dogs? So we try and continue with the warm-up despite the distraction. And with these lunges, it's kind of important that you're feeling the stretch in the back of your leg, right? Your hamstring is what you're trying to warm up. Next, we do these walkouts. So if you try to do these, basically what you're trying to do is touch your toes, walk out, and stand back up again. Now, one thing you might notice here, my left hand, I'm actually not putting it flat on the ground. So this is where I've got some pain in my wrist. This is where you can actually see arthritis, right? You can see I've got this kind of monkey, the way I put my hand is kind of the way a gorilla walks in its hand. I like to go flat on my fingers like that. And it just eases pressure on the wrist, if I'm having a bad day with the wrist. This program that I'm doing at the moment, Easy Strength, it doesn't actually have any squats. So as part of my warm-up, I include some goblet squats, just again to get the legs moving and to keep that squat movement fresh. So the goblet squat I would highly recommend to anyone that's not used to squatting. So I think the first thing you want to do is get your body weight squat down, make sure you've got the proper mobility to actually move into a squat. But once you start adding weight, I think the goblet squat is the place to go rather than a barbell squat. The goblet squat, what's really nice is holding the weight out in front here. It means you can't lean forward, right? Because the weight will pull you forward. The kettlebell will fall. The weight of it will drag your arms down. So you need to stay, if you look at my straight back there, you need to stay upright. You can lean back a little bit because the kettlebell adds a counterbalance. So the first lift of the workout is a deadlift. This workout today is, we're actually just doing 6 sets of 1. So what you're going to actually see in this video is lots of rest. I'm actually spending 99% of the time here just not lifting. So you might be thinking that deadlifts for someone like me that has arthritis, that has spondylitis, which is arthritis that affects my spine and my SI joint where the spine meets the hips, you might think deadlifts are a terrible idea. And they are if they're not executed well. So I've spent like a lot of time working on my posterior chain, working up to being able to lift these sorts of numbers. This is about 120 kilos each set. I'm going to add about 5 kilos up to 125. With Easy Strength, the lifts are meant to feel easy, right? And these ones do feel pretty easy. So getting in position, doing the lift, dropping the weight, And every time you see me step forward here, I'm updating my little notebook where I'm tracking all my lifts, all my numbers. And then we go into our rest period. Now, the reason I haven't just cut out the rest period is that I want to show when you're resting, this is not a time to just like sit down and go on your phone and go on Instagram. You want to keep moving, keep hydrated, keep the blood flowing, move your limbs, move your legs, and you just generally want to keep moving between your lifts to help with your recovery. So with the deadlift, key things here: you're pushing through your legs, you're hinging at your hips. Your arms aren't really doing anything. Your arms are just hanging and holding onto the bar, right? So you're pushing down through your legs. The feeling is like you're pushing the ground away from you. You're not lifting the bar. You're not pulling with your back. That is the absolute critical thing with deadlifts. So the way you feel this, it should feel like your feet are pushing down into the ground. And as the bar starts to move, you will then hinge at the hips. That's where the hips come forward. So if you watch here, I'm leaned over, but then I pull myself back, straighten out the back, okay? And then pulling with the legs. And once it's come off the ground, then you're hinging with the hips out. Back stays straight the whole time. On the next lift, one thing to pay attention for is the breath as well. So I'm leaning over, grabbing the bar, straightening out the back, pulling back my shoulders, start pushing with the legs. But before I start pushing with the legs, I'm taking a deep breath like this. So into my belly, just, and I'm bracing, squeezing really, really hard. So what that will do is create like a cushion inside my abdomen. It's called intra-abdominal pressure. So that cushion will help protect the lower back. So if you watch here, you'll see leaning over the bar, and then I'll pull back, pull my shoulders back straightens out, and I'll take the breath, and the breath comes out at that point. When you hit the hard point of the lift when you're struggling, that's when your breath will come out. Now on these lifts, again, the whole point in easy strength is you're never meant to miss a lift. So these numbers, they're not, particularly challenging. I can feel them, they're heavy, but it's, I'm not at any risk of missing the lift, right? And that's the key thing here. You want to make every lift. This is my first time through this program, but I'm just following it by the book. It's from Dan John, and he says it should feel easy, and you should never miss a lift. So we'll see how it works out. So again, watch, breath comes in here, and then we're doing the pull. So that's the 125. I think that's the end of the deadlifts now. So I update my journal. I'll come back to the journal later. I've got 5 years of workouts. Yep, that's the end of it. I've got 5 years of your workouts tracked in these journals. Next lift, overhead press. So we're taking the barbell. I think the important thing about this one is that you're pressing overhead, and it is your shoulders, sure. But actually what I really like about this exercise is that it's a full body movement. So I'm squeezing my legs, squeezing my glutes, doing the same thing where I take the breath into my belly, bracing the core, and then starting to push. So if you look, you got the setup, I come back, squeeze everything tight, press, bring it back, and then re-rack the weight after that. So again, 6 singles, adding weight every time. This one's meant to feel easy. I've done a lot of overhead pressing. This is at about 45 kilos, I think, at this point, which is a bit more than half of my body weight. And again, these lifts are meant to feel easy. During the rest period, I'm giving myself 1 to 2 minutes. I've sped it up like 600% here, but 1 to 2 minutes with each rest period, doing my push, and then writing down in the journal, did I get the lift? How did it feel? Make sure it felt easy, right? Because that is like I said, easy strength. All of these lifts are meant to feel easy. I like these shoulder dislocations with the band. It just helps kind of keep the shoulders nice and loose. I do them all the time. So yeah, and the other thing I'd say about the overhead press is that if your posture isn't great, if your shoulder mobility is bad, if you're rounded forward in the shoulder, it's actually really hard to get overhead and get your head pushed through. As you extend, you want to push your head through underneath the bar. And that can be really hard to do if you've got tight in your thoracic spine. So for me, the reason I really, really like overhead pressing is that it really forces me to stay on top of my mobility. It's a really telling exercise for if my spinal mobility is not great. So I know if I'm struggling there, I need to do some mobility. I need to do some work. I need to stretch out my back. It's just like I said, despite being a shoulder press, it is a full body exercise, and that's what I really like about them. They're hard to do. These are small little muscles on your shoulder. We're trying to push a lot of weight, so you need to put a lot of time into this, a lot of practice, right? But as I said before, this sort of strength training, we're not exhausting ourselves. We're trying to keep the body fresh. We're trying to let our nervous system recover. That's the vital thing, and we're coming back day after day. So I'm doing these workouts 5 days a week. never straining myself. I'm never is sore the next day. I'm fresh, able to come back and do it again. So we're on the chin-ups now. I've done calisthenics for a long while, so I spent a lot of time doing pull-ups and chin-ups. So I do this movement weighted, so I add 10 kilos. I think I work up to 22 kilos in this workout. Again, all single movements. On other days, I'll do sets of 5 with 10 kilos added as well. But again, it's the same principle, right? We're doing a lift. We are resting, giving our body, giving our nervous system plenty of time to recover. The lifts never really feel like a massive struggle. They're meant to be hard, they're meant to be heavy, but they're not a struggle. I'm not grinding it out, right? I'm not sacrificing form at all. That's the key thing for me. With arthritis, when you're training and when you're strength training, form is everything, right? I cannot afford, and if you have arthritis, you cannot afford to be lifting with your ego, to be sacrificing form for the sake of pushing some weight and doing a bad job of it, because you will injure yourself. And if you're injured, you're going to reduce your mobility, and if you've got reduced mobility, you're going to be more stiff. The arthritis is going to be more of a challenge. So staying injury free while building strength is your priority, and that's why this sort of approach to strength training I think is really, really great, because again, you're focusing on rest and recovery, letting your nervous system recover. You're focusing on proper movement, proper form. You're meant to feel strong the whole time. You're not meant to feel like you're pushing your body to its absolute limit. In fact, when working at the gym, we often do testing weeks where we'll try and test our 1 rep max or our 5 rep max. I never really do those testing weeks, right? The 1 rep max, it's kind of irrelevant. The important thing is that we have this general strength, that we feel strong, that we're moving well. This is what's really important, right? So again, like I said, this probably looks a little bit different to the type of workouts you're used to seeing on things like social media and stuff like that, CrossFit, whatever. And they're fine. I enjoy doing those workouts. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying when you're trying to build strength and your focus is strength, as it should be, I think, with arthritis, you can train differently, and you can train in a much lower impact way, and a way that's much more that is much kinder to your body, let's say, so that you're not feeling sore, you're not feeling that muscle fatigue. Now, if you're just starting working out, you will get some of that muscle fatigue. That is normal, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for good movement, mobility, strength. That is our main priority here. So with these chin-ups, I think I finish off at about 22 kilos added at the end for a single rep, and the chin-ups were feeling pretty good. This is week 2 of the program that I'm on now, and I'm starting to see, some of the lifts are starting to get a bit easier. On easy strength, the whole point is that, like I said already, you're not stressing yourself, you're never missing a lift. It should feel easy, but it's the accumulation over time, right? I could come in on a Monday and I could do 3 sets of 8 deadlifts, really heavy, really push my body, but then the next 2 days I'd be recovering, right? But if I'm doing 10 a day for 5 days, I accumulate 50 total reps as opposed to the 24 reps if I did 3 heavy sets of 8. Now we kind of finish off the workout with a ballistic hinge movement. So this is a kettlebell swing. This is hands down my favorite movement to do. You might think that if you've got arthritis, especially in your spine and in your hips like I do, that this would be a terrible move. Actually, it's the complete opposite. I find this movement loosens me up. I feel much better afterwards. It's great for your back, your glutes, for creating that strength, creating that mobility, the power that you want in your hips to be able to move well, right? So I would recommend kettlebell swinging to absolutely anybody. I do them as often as I can. If I'm feeling sore, if I'm feeling stiff, I'll actually might just do 100 swings, like a few sets of 20 or whatever, and I will feel better after it. Absolutely love my kettlebell. So we will, at the end of every workout, we're basically doing a couple of sets. We'll do 20 reps or 30 reps, get our swings done. This is kind of like adding almost a little bit of cardio, but really this is a power movement. It's a ballistic movement. You can see we're moving the hips, but it's fast, it's high impact, and yeah, this is a kettlebell swing. I think they're underrated and everybody should be doing them. The last exercise then of the workout is our ab wheel. With the ab wheel, This is just a great core exercise. We're only doing 5 reps. That's what the program says. So trying to extend all the way out, bracing the core, making sure the back is not rounding underneath, and pulling back in. This actually takes quite a lot of control. I've done a lot of yoga, Pilates, core work, all that sort of stuff. So I can get pretty low on this, but if you're trying an ab wheel, it might take a while to get to this level. And that's it. That's the whole workout. Now this workout, actually, I sped up all the rest periods. I sped up some of the movements. But this workout actually took me the guts of an hour. Normally these easy strength workouts take about 20 minutes because I'm doing 2 sets of 5 rather than 6 sets of 1, which means you've got a lot of rest periods. I was doing 1 to 2 minutes rest between each lift. So normally I would be in and out in 20 minutes on an easy strength workout. It's all rest, it's all recovery. If you were to talk to me there, I wasn't breathing heavy, I wasn't red in the face. I could have done the same workout again, but that's not the point. The point is you're getting your lifts done, you're recovering, your nervous system is getting to recover, and you're having that adaptation because you're coming back day after day after day, and you keep doing the lifts. When the weight feels really, really light, we add weight. That's how we work. It all goes based on how you're feeling in terms of the weight that you're pulling. So for example, I started out deadlifting 100 kilos on day 1 of this program. That felt pretty easy, so it was just a number I picked. 100 kilos seemed relatively easy. So I did that for the first few days, and by a few days in, the 100 kilos just felt like nothing. So I added some weight, and I will keep doing that. And I think this is another thing that I really like about easy strength, is that it kind of forces you to listen to your body, to get to know your body better. What feels good, what feels like a struggle, what feels easy, and then you're adapting the weight to based on that, based on the feeling. I think if you've got arthritis in particular, you need to learn to listen to your body. You need to know what is arthritis pain, what is not arthritis pain, what is pain that you can move through to get to help, loosen up, versus what is pain where you should back off and say, you know what, I'm not going to push that. So listening to those signals from your body, and I think that really helps. With programs like this, is a good opportunity to learn to listen. So that is the workout. This is Workout Wednesday. Thank you for joining me. Please leave any questions or comments you have in the comment section. Like, subscribe, share if you know anybody living with arthritis. If you want to learn more about this type of strength training, I will put a link to Dan John's Easy Strength Explainer in the description as well. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for joining me, and see you tomorrow.